Okay, hello friends. I decided to do a longer pick a card reading this time because I just felt like it. So, what we're going to concentrate on right now is kind of like the shifting moves of like emotions and relationships, because I feel like that's what a lot of people are kind of thinking about right now. The Libra full moon just passed and Mars is in Cancer, so I feel like a lot of people have been crying. They've been rethinking about their relationships. Like, there's just a lot of focus on that aspect. Um, I haven't been focusing too much on relationships myself. I've been more thinking about, well, I guess it's relationships within work because I've started doing more client work. So, kind of like finding the right clients where we fit each other and things like that. But the Mars in Cancer has been hitting me hard. So, I know it's hitting other people hard. Like, just feeling weepy, feeling not good enough, feeling like you don't really have control. Unless you have other Cancer placements, then this is like fine for you because you're like, oh yeah, I'm confident in myself, I'm good. But like for a lot of us who aren't really like as versed in, Cancer energy, are kind of like struggling with like how to approach these more emotional issues. So, what I have in front of you is kind of like something to think about whenever it comes to your relationships. Like, what's something that you feel is part of either what you're looking for or what you're currently experiencing. So, we have the healer here, inspiration, and blossom. So, we're going to have it as 1, 2, 3. So, take a moment if you need to, pause whatever you need to do, and then go ahead and skip ahead into the video wherever you need to go. Since I'm uploading this to YouTube, I'll have the timestamps below. It's been a while since I've done that, but it's kind of exciting. So we'll get started. Just put these to the side somewhere, not in camera view. Okay, I also have these 2 little books I'm going to be using because I'm using different cards. So I'll just kind of fast forward through those parts, but you get me. So we have the healer here. So whenever I think of the healer, especially the snake, it's kind of like this idea of, like you can see it shedding its skin. So whenever we heal, we kind of let go of the old parts of ourselves that aren't really helping us anymore. Like we kind of just release that hold that those past experiences have on us. And we realize that there's a little bit more to life than our past experiences. For some of us, we need to get to a certain age before we're able to actually like accept that. For other people, it's more of about experience because some people experience really harsh and intense things very young. So they know from an early age how crucial it is to release things that happen, because then it's just going to wear you down your whole life and you're going to always kind of be tied to and sort of like emotionally dependent on this trauma, if that makes sense, because it defines who you are. We have this relationship deck card. So we have patience within 1 month. So something is changing for you within the next month. Maybe you're currently healing and you're wondering like, when am I going to start seeing results of this healing? So for you, it's going to be within 1 month, you're going to start seeing more results of the work that you've been trying to do here. Shift this up a little bit. I used so many decks this time. I usually don't do that, but I just was like feeling inspired. Okay, so here we have I invoke laughter with the within a month over here. And then I also have cultivate stillness. Okay, so with the healer card, it kind of makes me think that, for you to really start seeing results with the healing, especially in the next month, that you need to kind of like spend more time alone, spend more time being kind of like with yourself. I can see the I invoke laughter makes me think like, look at the brighter side of things. Maybe you're the type of person who was always clowning around and maybe you don't ever give yourself the chance to like be still and relax and let yourself heal. Like you always want to be around people. Maybe you're extroverted. That's kind of the energy I'm getting with this. And that is important for you to heal, that you have to kind of like take a pause and stop trying to make other people feel better. Stop trying to put your focus on other people's issues. Like just focus on yourself. It's okay to find humor in the trauma and the things that you're, healing right now. But it's not okay to completely ignore what's going on and the growth you need to see, you know? Okay, so we have crown chakra here. So we have bliss, communion, and impermanence. So this tells me that this is kind of like what you're looking for in your relationships. Like, you're looking for something that's more intellectually stimulating, maybe somebody who makes you feel like you're seen. I'm getting that from like the bliss and the communion. And the impermanence, like maybe that like that stability there is what I'm seeing here. And then the bliss really like pops out to me of like wanting relationships that make you feel positive, you know, about what's going on with you and your life. And with the cultivate stillness and with the I invoke laughter, it's maybe people who make you laugh, make you feel good about yourself, and people who can sit in that stillness with you, or people who can give you support where you need it. So I have 4 of Cups here and Queen of Wands reversed. So this tells me that in some aspect, you're just kind of like over it emotionally with this 4 of Cups. Like maybe people keep coming to you and they need advice or something and you're just kind of over it. Or maybe you have been reaching out to a particular person who continuously lets you down. So maybe at this point, and now they're turning around and they need your support. And so you're kind of like over it at this point because you're like, I'm tired of always being the one to put the effort in and then never see the results. And the Queen of Wands reversed too tells me that you're kind of like ignoring the growth that you need to make right now. Like whatever it is that you're feeling kind of inspired to move forward with. And I'm assuming it's your healing since this is the, you know, whole aspect here of this reading. You're kind of ignoring that passionate part, your knowledgeable part, you know, like, I feel like you might have been too dependent for a while on other people, kind of like satisfying those needs inside of you. But now it's time for you to do the actual work. So you are probably over yourself as well, you know, over the bad connections you might have, over yourself. And it's time for you to put a little bit more focus into your passions or your hobbies or things that make you feel alive, things that make you feel confident. Because at this point, you kind of don't feel confident in what you're trying to do. It feels very like, where's the rule book? Like, how do I navigate this? Whenever it's like you have the answers, you just really need to take the time to cultivate stillness and sit with yourself. Let's say a month, okay, right? Because that's what's come out. Let's take a month. Let's focus on the crown chakra. If you're into chakras and stuff, I'm not like super into them. This just came out from my ritual deck. So, but it could be a sign for you to kind of like look more into like, what does that mean, you know, and how can I cultivate this? I feel like it's really good whenever you're healing to have goals like, hey, I'm going to focus on this aspect right now. I'm going to focus on this aspect. And then you slowly start to realize that you've changed so much because you've rounded yourself out as a person. You've tried these different things. Like I have looked into chakras before. I just kind of realized that like, it's not really something I'm super into, you know, but it's like, it's one of those things where you just try to figure out what's going on with you and what resonates with you and how you can use that to help you heal. Okay, so that's what I have for group 1. Thank you for watching. And we're going to move on to group 2 now. The way I'm sitting is not good for my legs. Okay. If you chose group 2, then you chose inspiration. So this tells me in your relationships, you might be looking for inspiration, or maybe you're inspired by the people around you. So we're going to see kind of and dig a little bit more into that. I have mommy issues here. So I'm going to assume that you're wanting to make female connections of some sort, have really good like female friends. Or maybe if you are into women romantically, kind of like having those mommy issues whenever it comes to relationships and how you're perpetuating those issues. I feel like it's honestly really, I feel like mommy and daddy issues are really complex because if you have a mom or dad that isn't present, then in those relationships you might, you know, have a bit of abandonment issues, avoidant attachment, things like that. If you have a parent that was around, but they just were kind of like emotionally neglectful or abusive. You might have anxious attachment. You could have, both of those things. And then for a lot of people too, if they have parents that were around but catered to them a little bit too much, then it starts to become difficult of like, how can I find relationships that measure up? So there needs to be like a good balance of like independence as well as like being there for your child and things like that, So I feel like it's a really difficult balance that no one can really figure out how to, what's it called? Cultivate. Because it's difficult, no one's perfect. But here I am open to love in various forms. Okay, so it makes me, think that you're kind of like open romantically to what could happen right now. Like you're not really trying to put yourself into one single box. And then begin again. Also, this could not be romantic too. It could be friendships. Like maybe it's like, maybe you struggled to make friends before, but now you really want to make friends. And if we have that mommy issues, it's like female friends, which that can be a difficult thing as well. If you are, not romantically trying to be with women, like you just want to have girlfriends, but you have mommy issues. Sometimes in your friendships that can kind of like correlate because you might be drawn to people who are a little bit more like your mom or treat you like how your mom did, and then not realizing the red flags or the issues with the friendships because you're just kind of used to women treating you that way. Obviously that can be for men or women, it's just kind of like what it is. So we have begin again here too. So I get the feeling that you're being inspired to start over. I don't know if this is because you've met new people or if you've like dealt with something in the past that you're kind of like moving on from, but you're at this point where you're ready to begin again. This could also be, just romantic relationship. I have water, which is emotions. We have ease, flow, and feminine energy. So these relationships or these connections you're trying to make with women or a woman is positive. It's going to be important to kind of be a little bit more open emotionally than maybe you are comfortable with. And that doesn't necessarily mean trauma dumping or anything like that. It means more like being open to the idea of expressing emotions in a different way. Something that like you maybe weren't, totally in tune with before. So that's kind of what I have here for the water. Like make sure that you are staying emotionally open, staying emotionally fluid. We have 5 of Pentacles and 3 of Wands. So the 5 of Pentacles, especially with it being a begin again, is kind of like you're looking for your crew. You're looking for people that are with you through hard times, like through harsh conditions. Someone who isn't just a fair-weathered friend. I would say to also consider not someone who's just a foul-weathered friend too. Those can sometimes hurt even more because you'll be going through a hard time and you'll become friends with someone and then you guys will become so close because they helped you through this hard time. They were there for you. Like let's say you didn't have a car. This person took you to all your appointments and they made sure that, you had the things you needed. This person brought you groceries, whatever. Those people usually have some sort of, unless they're just a legit good friend, that's totally possible. I'm not saying everyone who does this has an agenda, but a lot of people who like, you knew them, but y'all weren't really close and now you're in a crisis and suddenly they're super available. That's a person who's kind of trying to benefit from the fact that you're in this place. There's nothing wrong with utilizing that relationship though, if you need it. But it's important to recognize when things start getting better, look for those red flags. This person could have been genuine the whole time. Every time they were helping you, it was totally genuine. They want to be close to you. But if good things start happening and you start noticing that they're uncomfortable and they're maybe trying to start drama or they're trying to convince you that you can't do the things that you're able to do now and stuff, then that's a foul-weathered friend. They only want to be your friend when things are going bad for you because they want to be the savior. They want to be in control, whatever their personal thing is with it. And you don't really have to put up with that. You're ready to begin again. This hardship that you went through is over. And you want friends that'll be there for you through that. Maybe while you were beginning again and going through your trauma and mommy issues, you lost a lot of friends. That's totally a normal thing that happens whenever you realize, hey, I've been letting people abuse me for a long time. is once you realize that, you kind of do lose a lot of friendships because you realize how many people you had around you that you were letting abuse you because of your parents or your past relationships or whatever. This Three of Wands tells me too that you have a really solid foundation of like where you want to go next. You're very passionate about this next step. Be emotionally open to this, but you definitely have a solid foundation of like, okay, this is my expectations going forward with women, with friends, with my romantic relationships, whatever it is. And you're feeling inspired right now. You might have someone close to you that you've been feeling inspired by, like you're like, wow, this person really has it together. I want to emulate that. That's totally fine. Just make sure that you are doing your part and not kind of like depending on them to lead the way. They can show you the way by living their life. You know what I mean? And not like having this dependence of like, hey, I want to be like you. Can you like give me the tools? It's more of like, I want to be around this person so that I see what they're doing and then I can be inspired and put that in my life and do those things. And there's nothing wrong with that as long as it's not becoming obsessive, as long as it's not becoming dependent. It is okay to recognize that someone is in a better place than you are and that you want to be where they're at. That's totally healthy and okay. It's just the obsession part and those things that whenever it goes too far. So yeah, that's basically what I have for you. Continue to be inspired, keep moving forward, be emotionally open, but you have a really solid foundation here. And don't forget to recognize when people are fair or foul-weathered friends. That doesn't mean you have to cut them off, but it's just something to keep into consideration. You know what I mean? If you have a foul-weathered friend, they're only really into you whenever you have something bad going on. Maybe they could be the person you depend on whenever you do have something going wrong. Not like, hey, give me money, but like, hey, I'm going through a hard time. Will you talk me through it? And then they'll feel like they're doing their purpose of being helpful. You know what I mean? And then the fair-weathered friends, just don't come to them with your issues. Come to them whenever you want to have fun, whenever you want to forget, whenever you don't want to, you know, everybody has their purpose, but don't try to fit people into boxes that are not meant for them. You know what I mean? If someone is a fair-weathered friend, don't come to them with your problems. If someone's a foul-weathered friend, don't come to them when you're happy. But yeah, so that's the advice I have for you. That was the end of group 2. Good luck with everything. Now we're moving on to group 3. If you chose group 3, you chose Blossom. That means that you are feeling like your friendships are blossoming or you really want them to. Maybe you're in a place where you haven't had any close friends in a while and you kind of want to have that connection again. It's not the same as whenever we were kids. We have trauma involved. So there's some type of trauma that you're trying to move on from here. We have I am peaceful. So you're possibly looking for peace in your life. And then let it flow, let it grow. You might be struggling a little bit with how to practice radical acceptance. Sorry if you can hear the people outside. It's been really cool, so I have my window open. But yeah, so you're kind of looking for peacefulness. You're looking for, oh my God, I just said the most perfect word for this, but whatever. You heard it in the video. I just forgot it. But, oh, radical acceptance. Yes, let it flow, let it grow. Radical acceptance. Where I am right now is where I just am. This radical acceptance helps a lot with anxiety attacks and panic attacks. Like if you feel very like freaked out or like, where's my life going? What am I doing? You know, and you like can't just chill. That's whenever it starts like being like, okay, I need to accept where I am currently so I can move forward. That's not to say accept bad situations, bad relationships, any of those other things. This is more of like accepting just like where you are right now and that's okay. And then the steps to move forward. So you're looking for peace. There's trauma involved. So maybe internally you don't feel peaceful, or maybe you are in a traumatic relationship or a traumatic situation. Which, I mean, I'm feeling the need to tell you like reach out to therapy if you can, or any like services, because this like restlessness and like not feeling peaceful and things like that are definitely internal like trauma issues that need to be worked through. If you don't have access to therapy, other things you can do is literally Google the issue, watch YouTube videos, what's it called? Journal, like things like that. Read self-help books. If you don't have the money for self-help books, you can get onto library services and have access to audiobooks and all kinds of things. There are things you can do it's just going to take the effort to do it. So definitely work on blossoming what it is you want to blossom and have that peacefulness that you're looking for, but you have to work through the radical acceptance and the trauma first to kind of move forward. I have seed of life here. So miracle, oneness, potential. I feel like you're looking for a sign from the universe right now that it's time to move on from this thing that you're dealing with. And that you're kind of waiting for a miracle to happen. A second ago, I got the thought in my head, savior, like someone to save me. I don't know if that's your situation, but that's like what popped into my head. And then the miracle kind of like reaffirmed that for me a little bit, is that there's this like want that someone's going to save you that usually stems from childhood trauma, like that idea of like, oh, my parents are like, I'm living in a terrible situation. When is someone going to come in and save my inner child? And I'll tell you right now, the person who's going to save your inner child is you. So it's important for you to kind of like start looking at how you can be there for yourself and how you can start making the first steps into healing your childhood trauma. We got 6 of Wands. And we got Queen of Swords. Okay, so we have some type of victory for you happened recently. Something, you know, good, positive that you're feeling good about. The Queen of Swords, though, kind of indicates to me that you're dealing with like nasty thoughts about yourself, or maybe like nasty thoughts about other people. In general, it's like icy judgment, rude comments that are not warranted, that aren't welcome, something like that. This could be from the parental figure you're trying to move away from. But you had something really good happen, and maybe that's, you know, where this little triangle of like goodness is, and this little peacefulness is. It's like the 6 of Wands, you had some sort of small win, some sort of victory, and now you're like, oh, is this like the sign? Is this the miracle for me? Is this like that I need to go forward? You've been waiting for some type of sign, and just want to let you know that this is also your sign to move forward. And be your advocate for peace. Be your advocate for radical acceptance. Be your advocate for childhood trauma. Advocate for yourself in these situations, because other people are not going to do it for you. You could pay someone to do it for you, like a therapist. But even then, that depends highly on the therapist as well. You could go to therapy and not match with your therapist. They could be giving you bad advice, whatever it is. But at the end of the day, you have to have this deeper, stronger connection with your intuition to where you can recognize when something is good advice for you and whenever something is bad advice for you. You really have to be the one to advocate for yourself and recognize the signs of what feels good and what doesn't. So my advice to you is to challenge these negative judgments and thoughts that you have about yourself and you have for others. What's the truth to them? You know, if you're thinking negative thoughts about your abusers, okay, journal about that stuff. Talk about it. Have it in, start collecting those red flag signs so that in your future relationships, you're not being drawn to people who treat you like crap. And then really hold on to this victory that you have had. Like, let this be your guiding light of like, okay, I had this really good thing happen. I want to blossom from this. I want to move forward into this peaceful existence. And you can do that. You just kind of have to do the work. You've started it, so you just got to keep going. So I believe in you. I'm proud of you. And that's the end for group 3.